Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for August's reading vlog. So it's actually the 31st of July and I'm all set up, having just spent the afternoon filming, and I thought that I would start this since I was all set up and made up and everything, but I haven't really got anything to talk about because the month hasn't started yet. So it's just a very quick hello, this is the intro. Thanks for coming along. Enjoy the vlog. Hello everybody. I was going to sit in this chair to film this video, this vlog, but yeah, it has been taken over. Apparently it is Pistachio's entire mission today to sit in the humans' chairs. There are two chairs literally like across the room, but she must sit in the human chair, the chair that the human was about to sit in. Very, very helpful. I wonder if I can coax her out. Is that not to your liking? I've pulled over a different chair to sit on, and you may be able to tell that no. I am to be sitting either on your chair or on you. I don't know why you think this is an appropriate way of doing things, Mum. What if I just swapped? What if I put this chair over here, and then you could sit on that chair, because that's the one that I was just sitting on. And then I can have this chair back, which is my chair for filming. What if we did that? Does that complete that? That's not happening. So today's vlog is brought to you by Pistachio. Yes, so it is Thursday the 4th of August, and yeah, I thought I would come and chat to you about what I have been reading. So on the 1st I finished Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake, and yes, this is very helpful, Pistachio. Very helpful. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I read the majority of it on the 1st of August, so it definitely still counts for my various readathons for August. And I thought it was well written, and yeah, I thought it was really fun, and yeah, that's book number 1. I just finished The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I read that, started that yesterday and finished that this morning, and I really enjoyed that one as well. I tend to like thrillers more than other people, I think, because I don't necessarily see things coming in when other people do. So yeah, I enjoyed that one. I thought it was really well written. Again, I thought it was fun. I didn't see the twist coming, and yeah, it was my first intro to Ruth Ware, and I'm glad that I read it. And I have read some of the Lair of Dreams by Little Brave, which is the second Diviner's book. So I'm up to page 76, which, as you can see, is very far into this particular book, because this particular book is 613 pages long. I'm enjoying this one. I don't know, it takes me a little while to get into these books for some reason. And I was enjoying it, but I wasn't really like loving it and desperately wanting to continue with it, so I put it down and picked up The Turn of the Key, which I then wanted to read like super quickly. So that's what happened. But yeah, that is the situation with the reading. Nothing really else to report, and yeah, so I'm gonna go now. I've got a little bit of filming to do right now, so I'll talk to you later. Hello everybody. So I just went to the post office and there was a package waiting for me in my PO box. I don't think I ordered anything from Amazon recently. I don't know what this is. So I thought we could open it together. So yeah, let's do that. Ooh, okay. There is a little note, gift note. gift for you from Matthew Palmer. Hope you enjoy your book, Mel. Thanks for entering Catnap's books. Oh yeah, there was a little giveaway for Catnap's books, and I won, so that's exciting. Okay, and I got The Daughter of the Moon Goddess. So Catnap's book is, sorry, I should have said, is a Instagram account that I follow, and they were doing a little giveaway. It was like one of those, like, yeah, this many people follow me kind of thing. Yeah, I got this book. Thank you very much, Matthew. That's awesome. So, The Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I have loved the look of this for a while. I've heard really mixed things about it. Not everyone has loved the actual book, but look at this cover. It is honestly one of the prettiest covers I have ever seen. So I'll read the back to you for those who don't know what this is about. I've heard a bit about it, but I can't really remember. So, there are many legends about my mother. Raised on the moon, Xing Yin was unaware she was being hidden from the celestial emperor, who exiled her mother for stealing the elixir of immortality. But when her magic flares and Xing Yin's existence is discovered, she is forced to flee her home, leaving her mother behind. Alone, powerless, and afraid, Xing Yin makes her way to the Celestial Kingdom, a land of wonder and secrets. In disguise, she trains alongside the Emperor's son, mastering archery and magic despite the passion which flames between them. To rescue her mother, Xing Yin embarks on a quest, confronting legendary creatures and vicious enemies. But when forbidden magic threatens the kingdom, Xing Yin must challenge the ruthless Emperor, leaving her torn between losing all she loves or plunging into the realm into chaos. Inspired by the legend of Chang'e, the moon goddess, this captivating debut weaves Chinese mythology into a sweeping adventure of love and family, immortals, and magic. Sounds so interesting. It sounds so amazing, and oh my god, honestly, I'm in love with this cover. It's so fantastic. Look at it. It's so pretty. Yeah, so I'm really excited. Like I said, I've heard quite mixed things about this one. Some people have loved it, and some people have not loved it. But, you know, that's what happens when you're an author. But yeah, I just think, look at that. It's so beautiful. Okay, I'll stop swooning over this book now. So thank you, Matthew. That's amazing. I had totally forgotten about that thing that I entered, so that's a very exciting surprise. I will not fit this on August TBR. As you guys will have already seen, yeah, it's huge. But hopefully I'll get it on my September or October TBR because it's just beautiful and I'd love to read it. So anyway, what else have I got to talk about? Yesterday I finished the Delilah Green Doesn't Care, which I really, really enjoyed. So that's the first book of Ping Pong Athon finished. I did cheat a little bit because I started it on the 30th. But I finished it on the 1st, so, you know, I was halfway, so I kind of feel like that's okay. And this morning I started Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray. I've read, 18 pages, so I haven't made a big dent in that one, but I've made a start, which is good. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Every single you.
Baby, something about you makes me feel like is Saturday morning. Been a good week. I have still been recovering from having had COVID, so Rowan convinced me to take my 2 days that I work off this week, and I think it was a good decision. Feeling a lot better. I was exhausted on Monday evening after having done like a bit of washing and a bit of washing up, so I'm glad that I took those days off, and yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. Otherwise, I've been reading, doing a little bit of journaling, and filming some videos. I am about a third, I think. Yes, about a third, just under a third of the way through the no, not the Divinas. Lair of Dreams, which is the second book in the Divinas series, and I'm enjoying that one. Anyway, Rowan and I are going to go fridge shopping now, so I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hello. It is Thursday, the 11th of August, and I thought I would update you on how I'm going. If you can hear the noise outside, that is our robot vacuum cleaner. He is scheduled, we always personify the robot vacuum cleaner to be a he, is scheduled to go on at 10:30 on Thursday morning. And yes, I could pause him, but maybe I should. I'm going to film some other videos today, so I'll pause him for those, but I don't think it matters overly much for the vlog. I'm sure you'll forgive me. So anyway, what have I been reading? I started The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides on my reading sprints last Sunday. If you were there, you will have known that. I did ask everyone to vote between this one and Lair of Dreams and Starting Gallant, and most people voted for this. So this is what I read. I finished it off yesterday. I have a lot of thoughts about this. I'm going to say that I'm not going to try and be particularly concerned with whether I'm spoiling things or not. So yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled for this book, then when it goes down, I will have stopped talking about it, so feel free to skip around. I had heard very mixed things about this. A few people I've heard absolutely loved this book. My friend Michelle, who bought this for me for my birthday, really enjoyed it, which is why she bought it for me for my birthday. So I'd heard really great things about it, but I've also heard some really bad things about it. Anne from Literary Diversions really hated this book and DNF'd it. And the main thing that she hated about this book was that the author was very body conscious. So it's in the first person voice, and the main character is the therapist, and he very much notices what people look like and makes a lot of comments when what they look like is not what is considered the norm. So the sort of subject of the book is another woman who is his patient, and she has gotten quite thin from being in this mental health facility. He really focuses a lot on that, and then he focuses on someone else who's very overweight, but it's just I kind of see the point that he's making, that their weight is at a potentially unhealthy end of either spectrum, but he really does focus on that a lot with those characters and on what's what I'm looking for on the sort of physical attributes of a lot of characters, which really bothered Leanne, which made me expect something more than was there, which I can see why it bothered her, but had I not been made aware of it, I probably wouldn't have thought that much of it, because although he does do that with a few characters, he doesn't. I thought it was going to be a really big focus, but it wasn't, I didn't think. I did like the structure of the book. I was told that basically if I liked the ending, I would love the book, and if I hated the ending, I would hate the book. I can certainly see why. I liked the twist at the ending. I thought that it was well conceived and well executed. I didn't see it coming, which probably says more about me than it does about the book, because I've said on this channel a number of times that I'm not a super good guesser of these sorts of things when it comes to thrillers, so definitely can see why people maybe don't like the ending, but I personally did like it. Although I have to say that the ending definitely made some of the way that the book was structured become less good, or not as good as you could have done it, or not quite how the author probably intended, because it means that some of the book was in the past and you didn't know that at the time, which is fine, but the way that it's written, it's difficult to kind of distinguish between the two, which I guess was intentional, but upon reflection I didn't think was as good as it could have been, or it made it more questionable once you got to the end. It kind of threw the rest into a, oh, hang on, does that really work kind of light, which is unfortunate because I did like the ending and I liked the way that that played out. The thing that I have an issue with is I'm not sure how much research or how much awareness the author had about what he was writing about. So we follow a therapist, a psychotherapist, and he gets a job at this institution for people with quite severe mental health issues. And first of all, the institution, I think, is very old-fashioned and a little bit concerning in the way that it is approaching therapy and, dealing with patients. It's written in 2019, so I really think that by then it should have been... It felt like Alex Michaelides had read a lot of books, fiction books about these topics, but not actually done any research into the actual into the reality of it. So it felt like he'd read a lot of books about this sort of subject, and that is how he had come up with these ideas, and he hadn't then gone and looked into any research into how this would play out in reality and how therapists react or act in reality and how patients potentially appear in reality. A lot of the therapists were incredibly unprofessional. Now, it makes sense for the main character to be very unprofessional given what you find out later, and there is one other character who, again, it probably does make sense as well, but I felt like a lot of the characters were really unprofessional. And there's one particular moment where one of the therapists calls one of the patients a bitch, and that rubbed me up really the wrong way, because I don't think that you do that. Like, even if you don't like someone, like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure we all have had the experience where we don't like someone that we work closely with, but we work professionally with them, so we have to kind of suck it up a little bit and be professional. Certainly in a caring environment, as a teacher and an early childhood educator, and also I have worked in aged care as well. Even when you don't like the person that you are caring for or teaching or what have you, partly you're in a caring role, so part of your job is to care somewhat about them. So even if you don't actually like them, you still try to have their best interests at heart. And I don't think that you would describe someone as a bitch. I have had a number of children, specifically recently, who I haven't necessarily connected very well with, or who I find really difficult in class, and some of the behaviours are quite difficult to manage. And I've definitely spoken about them to other teachers, and we definitely have moments where I go, oh yeah, yep, that child, in a kind of knowing way. But we've never called that person a derogatory term, even between each other. I just don't think that it is something that would happen. Maybe, like I said, given the situation with some of the characters who are behaving unprofessionally for a specific reason that makes sense within the story, they might have done it, but just everyone being somewhat unprofessional, it really didn't work for me, and the way they were kind of speaking about their clients, their patients, really didn't work for me. I just felt like, like I said, it felt like Alex Michaelides had read some literature, some fiction about these topics, but not actually done any research whatsoever into current therapy research or current practices, or even been to, not that you'd necessarily go to a high security institution, but you potentially could go. I mean, if you have a family member who is living in a aged care facility, you might go and visit them and take note of how the staff speak to and about the clients and the people they're caring for and in an authoritative position over them as well. Yeah, that really rubbed me the wrong way. So I don't really know how to rate this book because there were elements that I enjoyed, but there were things that bugged me. Very mixed. Anyway, I finished this one yesterday. I am halfway through Lair of Dreams now. So as you know, I've been reading this with other books. So I finished off Delilah Green Doesn't Care. And I think I started this the day after that, so I finished that one off on the first day of the month, and then I started this one on the second. So it has taken me 11 days to read 312 pages, which definitely you could argue is rather a long time, but if you consider the fact that I read The Silent Patient, The Hurt of the Key by Ruth Ware, and 2/3 of Delilah Green Doesn't Care, I think that I'm doing okay. I really do like this book. I really did like The Diviners, and I really am enjoying this one. I find though that it's very slow to get started. There's a lot of pieces of the puzzle, there's a lot of characters, and I do think that it's very well done the way that Libba Bray is kind of giving you little hints about what's going on and little pieces of the puzzle. But I just think there's a lot of characters and a lot of puzzle pieces, and for that reason there's a lot to get through, and she jumps around a lot, and I think that it just makes it quite slow going, which isn't necessarily a problem, but it takes a little while to get into it, and it just means that I'm a bit slower with reading them. But like I said, I am enjoying it. I think it's well written. I really like the way she's done the characters. The first one was a lot more focused on Evie, whereas this one has more focus on all of the other characters, which I really appreciate, partly because I don't really like Evie very much, but also because I do think that that's really interesting, and I'm intrigued to see how it's all going to play out in the rest of this book and the other two books. But yeah, just a little bit slow going, but now that I'm halfway through, I think that I will probably pick up the pace a little bit, and I'm definitely more intrigued to pick it up. I think part of the thing is that I'm enjoying it, but I'm probably less inclined to pick it up as opposed to some of those other books that I've read that were quicker paced. So I'm in the mood for more quick paced things, which I think is also why I don't have as much fantasy as you'd expect on this TBR, although it is a huge TBR, so but yeah. So those are the books that I have been reading. What else has been happening? Not a lot, to be honest. I went back to school yesterday. I did some editing and finished off The Silent Patient, and Rowan and I started doing a puzzle, which I will show you in a little bit. It was fun. It's huge. Neither of us do puzzles very often, or really at all, as an adult myself. Rowan and I have never done a puzzle together, so Rowan's definitely not done puzzles in 7 years, and I have never really done puzzles as an adult, but weren't kids' puzzles, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's harder than I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. But yeah, it's kind of fun, something a bit different, rather than just sitting in front of the TV, which is something we have a tendency of doing a little bit in the evening, and we're both kind of trying to stop doing that. He likes hanging out with me, so he kind of does it more than he wants to, and he gets a bit antsy. I have a tendency of just kind of feeling a bit like and watching the same thing over and over again, which is probably not the best use of my time. So I'm trying to cut back on doing that as well, because it really isn't the best use of my time. So anyway, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk to you about today. So I do have another couple of videos I want to film, so I'm going to go and do that, and I will talk to you a bit later. We got this for our wedding present, so 2 years ago. We're not really jigsaw people particularly, but we decided that maybe we'd give it a go. So yeah, we're not doing super well so far, but that's okay. Good morning. It is Friday morning, the 12th, and I'm about to start Gallant, and I am very excited about that. It is 307 pages long. The writing is, the text is pretty set in on the page, so I don't think it'll take me a super long time to read. I have heard mostly good things about this. A couple of people that didn't like it very much, but that happens with books and, entertainment in general. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to read it. So that is what I'm going to do this just now. Got coffee brewing, so I'm going to go and grab that in a second. That's my plan. Hi. It is Sunday morning, and I just finished Gallant, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. My second Schwab, and I've absolutely loved both the books I've read, which were The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and Gallant. So I really, really like their writing style. I think they have an incredible, beautiful way with words, a really amazing lyrical kind of writing style that I really, really love. So I've heard tell that essentially people were saying if you like Addie, you'll love Gallant, but there are people who prefer some of their other stuff, like the Vicious and Vengeful duology and the Darker Shades of Magic trilogy. So comment below and let me know what you think, because I really want to try some more of their stuff, but where do I go from here? So I loved Addie, I loved Gallant. Is it likely that I will like or not so much love the others? Are you a fan of Schwab? What's your favourite? Just generally comment and let me know what you think. Where I should go from here. Of course, I probably won't get to it for a while, but definitely want to delve more into their work and give more stuff a go. So yeah, that's where I'm up to. I just finished it this morning just before I had my shower. Last night we played not D&D, it's a different game, but it's similar to D&D. I can't remember what it's called, but similar idea, role-playing game with some friends, which was really, really fun. What did I do on yesterday? We had our book club meeting, the In Real Life book club, and that was where we were talking about The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. Everyone kind of felt the same as me, or they didn't like it. So my mum really didn't like it, but everyone else kind of felt like it was middle for of the road. So I think Michelle gave it 3 stars, I gave it 3.5. The consensus was that the Smart House was a bit much, it was a bit over the top. I liked that as a device, but I agree that it was a bit over the top. We did like some of the twists, but there were too many twists. And also, I don't want to spoil anything, but the 2 younger girls, one I think is 5 and the other is 8. And some of the stuff, I think I might have already spoiled it, actually. I can't remember. Skip ahead. I'll put my hand up like this. Skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled. But basically, it is the middle child, the 8-year-old, that does the stuff. She uses the Smart House to scare the nannies, and that's why the nannies have been running away. She does that because one of their I think it must have been their first nanny, who was with them for 4 years, was sleeping with the dad, and he's very lecherous, and he basically was hitting on all the nannies. And so this little girl was scared that her dad would leave. She must have overheard the dad saying something to the effect that he was going to leave the wife for the first nanny. Of course, he probably wasn't, but anyway. And so she's scared that that's going to happen again, so she keeps trying to scare off the nannies. But the thing that we thought was that she was too young for all of that. So she was 8 when this book took place. Now, if she was 8 when this book took place, that means that, so this nanny is the latest in a series, I think, of 3 nannies who have left really quickly. So she's the 4th nanny that's been hired and then, like, after they've left really quickly. But prior to that, I think they had a nanny who was with them for a year. So if the kid is 8, she would have been 7 while that nanny was there. And then before that, they had the nanny that was sleeping with the dad, and she was with them for 4 years. So that means that that kid was between the age of 2 and 6 when that nanny was with the dad and sleeping with the dad. So I don't think, first of all, I think she would have been really attached to the nanny and potentially wouldn't quite have understood what was going on. But I don't think she would have even particularly noticed. She may have overheard that, but I don't know that, depending on when she heard it, I don't know how serious she would have found that. And plus, the dad and the nanny sleeping together would have been normal for her if she was 2. That's a pretty early age. Like, that would have felt like a normal thing to be going on. So I don't know that that child would have actually had, like, I'm not saying it is normal, I'm saying that it is normalized because of her age. She would not have really known anything else. So how is she supposed to know, especially if they were living all the way in the middle of nowhere, how is she supposed to know that that wasn't what people did? So, and I doubt she would have really understood what that would have meant for the family. So I think that it's just highly unlikely that that child would have cared that much and would have done that stuff. It would have been much more believable if it had been the older child doing it all, because the older child, I think, was 14 when all this was, when this new child, all this was happening, when the story takes place. So if she was 14, say 5 years, she would have been 9. So it would have been much more of a thing for her. She would have understood a lot more. She would have realised what was going on a lot more. And also she would have had more understanding of the smart house and how it worked. I know that children who grow up with stuff like that are digital natives, so the 8-year-old probably still would have had very good understanding of the smart house and been much more able to use it than the nanny. But whether or not she would have thought of it, I don't know. I mean, it's potentially believable that the 8-year-old could have used the smart house like that, but I think it is more likely that the oldest one, who was 14, would have had more reason to want to do that. So it wasn't particularly... I'm actually feeling like I need to drop my rating, actually, now that I'm saying all that. It didn't feel particularly believable, basically. And plus there were just too many twists. So my hand's down now, which means you can come back if you were running away because you didn't want to be spoiled by what I was saying. So that was kind of generally the consensus yesterday. We also decided to read The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, which I'm really excited about, but we won't be meeting again until end of October. So I probably will read that in October, but I've been meaning to read that for quite some time, so I'm very excited to read that one. And I'm still making my way through Layer of Dreams. I think I'm up to page 320 maybe, or something like that. So I've got I've got basically just under halfway, half of the books left to read. I'll definitely read it by the end of the month, but yeah, kind of making my slow way through that. But yeah, hi. So it is Wednesday, the 17th, and thought I'd let you know how I'm going. So I am quite far into Layer of Dreams by Libba Bray. I am up to page 465, and there are 613 pages, so I'm hoping to get it finished. If not today, then definitely tomorrow. But of course, we'll see how we go. So yeah, looking forward to finishing that one off. Then I started Terra Nullius on Monday, so this is the Last Read Book Club book pick for August, and yeah, we're reading 3 chapters a day starting Monday, so I read 3 chapters on Monday, 3 chapters yesterday. I've yet to read my 3 chapters for today, but oh my god, this book is making me so angry and upset, and yeah, it is really good. It's really well written, but yeah. So it is about a bunch of different people. It's about I'm not sure when it's set, to be honest, and I have a suspicion it's been called sci-fi, so I'm kind of waiting for the sci-fi part to kick in. But it is based on early 20th century in Australia, and so we follow a number of different characters. So we follow a young man, Jackie, who is an Indigenous man, and he has escaped from what is essentially slavery to try and find his people. We follow a young woman who lives in a encampment of Indigenous people who have escaped white man and fled into the desert, and so they don't have their normal life. But they also don't have a proper settlement, so they're kind of in between. And then we follow the person who is like an employee of the government. He's one of the people in charge of the Aboriginal, I can't remember what they called it, Aboriginal Protection Board, which, did anything but. And we follow a nun who lives in oversees a mission where they have Indigenous children, and they are attempting to, as part of the White Australia policy, they're attempting to Europeanise them. So yeah, it is written from the perspective of those individual people. So when we're following Captain Rowan, who is the employee of the Aboriginal Protection Board, we're talking about the Indigenous people as natives, talking about how backwards they are. So it's really, really hard to read, even though like it makes sense because that is how Indigenous people were viewed, unfortunately still are by some members of white Australia. But yeah, it's really confronting, like unbelievably confronting and upsetting, but it's really well written and quite interesting, and I'm intrigued to see where it goes. And it is breaking my heart, but yeah, I think it's an important read. I think that it will be really good but really upsetting. So yeah, I should have it finished by next Sunday is the plan. So yeah, that is what I have been reading. Alright, that's it for now, so I'll talk to you later. Hello. So I have another spoiler alert warning, but I really need to talk about this book. So you know how yesterday I said, oh, by the way, it's Thursday the 18th. Yesterday I was updating you guys and I said, this is amazing, but I thought it was supposed to be sci-fi and I couldn't figure out where the sci-fi was. Well, halfway through the book, you get the sci-fi, and suddenly you realize that everything that you thought was happening was totally different to what was actually happening. So it blew my mind. It genuinely blew my mind. This book is amazing. The thing is that because it is in fact sci-fi and I now know what is happening, I am feeling less angry about the stuff I was feeling angry about because I now know that it's not history. But the thing is that it is based on actual history. So the first half of the book is creating this sense of that we are reading historical fiction and that we're reading about the way that Indigenous Australians were treated. Now, also, if you recall yesterday, I was confused about the time setting of this because there were some references to some of the technology that nobody had back in 1788 when Europeans first landed in Australia, or, you know, preceding 100 and something years, or 250 years. So therefore I was confused about what timing it was, but because we're still a horribly racist country, but because we still had horrendously racist white Australia policies even up to the 1960s, it was believable that this could be happening. It felt, sorry, I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, which may not be the best spot to be sitting because I'm going to slipping down. I wonder if I can. Still sitting on the bed, but I was sitting on the bed foot of the bed and slipping on the wood. Anyway, now I'm sitting on a mattress. Anyway, not the point. Yeah, so it didn't feel. There was something that was a bit confusing about the timing and some of the action that was happening and what they were talking about, the settlers and the natives, and that felt more like it should have been in the early 1800s, the early 19th century, but some of the technology that that there were a few references to felt like more like potentially it should have been in the early 1900s, early 20th century. So yeah, I was a bit confused there, but now I understand because it turns out that it is very deliberately using this confusion and using this idea that it might be an early Australian history to actually describe an invasion from a alien race into Earth. So when they talk about the settlers, they're talking about the aliens. When they talk about the natives, they're talking about humans as against European settlers or English settlers and in Australian Aboriginal people. So it just blew my mind when that suddenly occurred. I was like, oh my god, what in the hell? In chapter 10, so there's these little excerpts from made up reports and newspapers and stuff like that. And when I said yesterday about the Aboriginal Protection Board, there really was such a thing. So she's created the Native Protection Board, which now that I think about it, it wasn't called that. It was called Aboriginal Protection Board. But back in the time, it could have been, because all of the way that the aliens are treating humans is how the English treated Aboriginal people, and it's just amazing. It's just like, I was so angry, and now I'm still angry that we did that, but honestly, it's just my brain. So I read chapter 10 opens with an extract from a newspaper, from a native newspaper that's like an underground newspaper, and it's talking about, this is not an invasion. I'm writing this report from under a camouflage tarp somewhere north and west of the Murray River, what once I would have called the desert, which is the only reason I am able to write it at all. So first of all, I was like, hang on, the Indigenous Australians would not have called the Murray River, so hang on. We're not being invaded, we are being colonised, and there is absolutely nothing we can do about it. When they first arrived, we did not know whether they would be coming to invade or coming in peace. Having never left our planet, indeed not having made contact with life from outside our atmosphere, we had no context in which to understand them when they arrived, suddenly, without preamble. How could we have expected the total disregard with which we would be treated? Still, it could still be talking about Australia, because Australia is such an isolated country that you could still be referring to it as a planet, because if you hadn't left Australia, you might not think about it as think about what, like, you might not realize that without communication and everything, you might not realize that this wasn't the whole of the planet. Bear in mind, they do not fear us, they do not hate us, we simply do not conform to their narrow definition of people. Still, this is how Europeans thought about Indigenous Australians, even up until, like I said, the 1960s. It was sometime in the 1960s, I can't remember exactly what year, but it was in the 1960s, 6 years ago, that Aboriginal people were officially stopped being classified as fauna. What in the hell? Bear in mind, they do not fear us, they do not hate us, we simply do not conform to their narrow definition of people. Rather, they look upon us as merely part of the fauna of this planet they are settling and intending to tame. We are animals to them, and thus to them this is an empty planet ripe for their settlement. So at this point I'm starting to be like, hang on a minute. But still, there is no use appealing to them person to person. They will ignore it as the terrified bleatings of sheep, the aggressive yapping of dogs. They will ignore us as the colonised powers of the 18th and 19th centuries ignore the natives in the lands they invaded. And that's when I realised. But yeah, I highly recommend this book. I haven't even finished it yet, and I highly recommend it. I am, I think, just over halfway through. Yeah, just over halfway through. And I'm just... Hello! It's Friday morning, and I'm reading my chapters of this one. Also, I finished Lair of Dreams yesterday, and I did really enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. Slightly higher on Call Pile than The Diviners, because I did enjoy it slightly more than The Diviners. Mostly because I really don't like Evie. And you follow Evie a lot less in Lair of Dreams, so that worked for me. But yeah, I did enjoy it, gave it 4 stars. That's what I'm doing currently. So anyway. Oh my goodness, why am I yawning? Just had a coffee and everything. Anyhow, if you can hear the music in the background, I'll show you in a sec. But I'm actually listening to, I've got ambience up on my TV from YouTube, and it is Uncle Iroh's bookstore. It's very nice. So obviously that will be linked down below, so you can go and check that out. But that's the noises you can hear in the background. But yeah, anyway, I'll show you that now, and then I'll check in with you later on. Oh, sorry. Isn't it pretty? Hello again. It is still Friday, but I'm just about to start The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is for another vlog that I'm doing, so I won't say anything more than that. But yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. Hello. So I'm just about to start cooking, but I thought that I would jump on and update you guys before I did so. So last night I finished The Love Hypothesis, and I'm not going to go into any detail about that because I've got another vlog for that. But I did enjoy it, so I'll just say that. And then this morning I finished Terra Nullius. Oh my god. I was not expecting the ending. I'm not sure I'm happy with the ending. I mean, I'm not like angry at the ending. I don't hate the ending. Like, it was a good ending, but I'm just not sure that I'm happy with it because I wanted it to end differently. But that is not a reflection on the author's ability or the content or anything. It is just a reflection on what I was hoping to get out of it. But it was so good. I'm still processing it, so I might come back and talk to you about it once I process it more. But anyway, I'm gonna do some cooking now. So talk to you later. Hello. It is Friday the 26th of August. I actually don't know when I last updated the vlog. I did start Fantasy of Frost by Kelly St. Clair, but I only got like 4 pages in, so I think I'm actually going to restart that because I started it on Monday. I think it was only 4 days ago, but I have been reading Graceling instead, and I've read 218 of 370 pages, so I'm a lot further in to Graceling. So I feel like, and when I started this one, I was actually really tired the night that I started it, so I feel like I just need to, go back. So I'm just over halfway through, 2/3 of the way through Graceling, enjoying the reread. So that's that. Anyway, that's it from me right now. Hello. It is Saturday morning and Rowan and I have decided to come to a bookstore. It was actually Rowan's idea, not mine. He's going to Melbourne next week with work, but his sister and her partner and their children live in Melbourne as well. So he is going to be seeing his niece and nephew, and he has been told by his sister to check with her about books because they have a lot of books. But he thought that maybe they would not have any Tasmanian books, or many. So we're going to a local indie bookstore because they have a Tasmanian section, so they might have some kids' books that they wouldn't be able to get in Melbourne or be unlikely to get in Melbourne. Also, Rowan being the wonderful, amazing partner that he is, my period's due. I'm feeling kind of icky and down in the dumps and just blah. And I was feeling kind of sorry for myself, and Rowan suggested we go for a walk because he knows that it regulates my emotions, and then he suggested we come into Fuller's and do this thing because, you know, it's fun to go to bookstores. And I feel like I need to do the book buying slowdown, but you never know. This might be a day where I'm allowed to be a book buyer. We'll see how we go. Anyway, I thought I would let you know what we're doing and maybe show you some of the books that we look at. So yeah, that's what you're about to see. Hi everybody, it is the first day of September, and yes, I am finishing off August vlog on the first day of September, as I often do. Finish off on the first day of the month. It is Thursday and I often film on a Thursday or a Friday, and it just makes sense to film a bunch of stuff rather than filming little bits at a time, if that makes sense. Anyway, so last night I finished reading this one, which is Homeland by R.A. Salvatore. This is the Legends of Drizzt book 1. It is a Dungeons and Dragons book. It was published by the people that publish Dungeons and Dragons Players Handbooks and all that stuff, Wizards of the Coast. So yeah, it is a Dungeons and Dragons book. I enjoyed it. Yeah, thought it was quite fun, quite good, easy to read, all that stuff. So I finished it last night. Yeah, as you can see, I have new hair. So I got that done yesterday. Not sure how well you can see it, but I'm sure you can get the overall effect, which I'm very excited about. I really, really like it. Gone a bit lighter, gone a bit shorter, and yeah, I'm hoping that you guys like it as well. So anyway, I feel like I've had a really successful month. In August, I read 9 books, which is slightly more than I usually read or have been reading recently anyway. I'm very happy about that. This will go up before my monthly wrap up, I think. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, please comment below if you have any thoughts or anything you'd like to say. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then please leave me a cat emoji, because there's a cat on the windowsill just there, on the other side of the camera. So yeah, leave me a cat emoji. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.